ज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूप कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकम्। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरुं वैष्णवांश श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगण रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवम् साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवम् श्रीराधा कृष्णपदान् सहगण ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च नम ॐ विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिन्निति नामिने नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देश तारिणे हे कृष्णा करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधु जगतपते गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमस्तुते तप्त कांचन गौरांगे राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंदा हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। Hare Krishna. So welcome to the Saturday and Sunday Sri Harinam Chintamani series. Yesterday was Jagannath Mishra festival, and day before that was the Gaur Purnima festival. So I hope all devotees wonderfully relished these very important Vaishnav, Gaudiya Vaishnav festivals. So yesterday we could not have the class. So today we are going to continue with the discussion of Sri Harinam Chintamani 15 chapters. But I thought it is wise, let us recap up till now where we are in the 15th chapter. So we'll just go through a quick recap of the 15th chapter. The 15th chapter begins by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu glorifying Haridas Thakur. And he asks now about Namaras. Namaras Jigyasa he does. Then Haridas Thakur replies by giving the Rasa Tattva, how the Lord is composed of rasa. And in this context, there is Shakti and Shaktiman, and the Chitta Shakti, the Jiva Shakti, and the Maya Shakti, the three Shaktis, the three principal potencies of the Lord, which has again unlimited divisions. So from the Chitta Shakti manifests the Lord's beauty, name, abode, and activities. And then Golok Vrindavan are all his abodes. And then there are names, forms, qualities, and pastimes. This is the Chitta Shakti. The Maya Shakti is which by the 24, 23 elements for creation, are produced, and the Jiva Shakti are the Tatastha Shakti. They are one and different, and they stay in the border of matter and spirit. And their constitution is to serve the Lord. So in this, Bhaktivinoda Thakur went into further subdivision where he mentions about the Nitya Baddha and the Nitya Bhukta. The Nitya Baddhas are imprisoned by Maya and they're averse to Krishna. And the Nitya Mukta are always free from Maya's prison and they are serving Krishna eternally. Among the Nitya Baddhas, some have turned their face towards Krishna and some have turned their face away from Krishna. Those who have turned their face towards Krishna, they are called as Antarmukha, and they, in the Sadhu's association, chant Krishna's name. So this is where, now the discussion of these Antarmukha who chant Krishna's holy name, they understand that Nama Swarup, Rasa Nama Swarup, the holy name is nectar. Rasa Rupa Swarup, the holy Lord's form is nectar. And Rasa Guna Swarup, the Lord's qualities are nectar. And Rasa Leela Swarup, the Lord's pastimes are also nectar. And what is the Bhakti Swarup? The Bhakti Swarup, as we were discussing, how the Swarup Shakti of the Lord. Bhakti is the Swarup Shakti of the Lord, where the Sandhini and the Ladini, Sambit and the Ladini potency manifest in the heart at the stage of Bhava. And that is what is the Bhakti Shakti and the activities of devotional service. The activities of devotional service actually begin at the stage of Bhava. Till then, we are just, we are still in practice. That's why sadhana bhakti, from Shraddha till Asakti is sadhana. Bhava bhakti is bhava stage, and prema bhakti is prema stage. So when we attain the pad, prem ankur, then the ingredients of rasa, those activities, the real life of devotion begins. So we discussed the ingredients of rasa, vibhava, anubhava, satviki bhav, sanchari bhav, and vabhichari bhav. And then all these ingredients one by one. In vibhav there is vishayalamban and ashrayalamban. And then there is the uddipans and anubhavas. What follow after the vibhava are anubhavas, and then the sanchari bhavas. So after hearing this, how do I attain this? What is the sequence? So what is the sequence? The sequence is that by the mercy of a pure devotee, the soul who is eager takes up to the chanting. And this chanting he does on the Tulsi Mala, or he does Kirtan with great love and respect. Kintu adarat anudinam, as also Rupa Goswami says. And then he gives the standard. Chanting one Grantha 4 rounds, he should come to 3 lakh names, 192 rounds. So this is a very, very high standard. And then we spoke about what we had discussed in the 12th chapter of Sri Harinam Chintamani, Utsa technique. Try to hear one Maha mantra attentively, then one entire round. Hear attentively 4 rounds. That is one Granthi. Then build a block of 4, 4, 16. Chant 16 good rounds. And probably on Ekadasi or on festivals, try to increase the rounds and slowly, gradually come to the standard. So as we get taste, then the number doesn't matter for us because we have got taste. So till then it is a battle. So that's why gradually, systematically attend holy name japa retreats where we exclusively go to the holy dham to absorb ourselves in chanting. All this is going to help us to come to this standard what Bhaktivinoda Thakur is speaking. And chanting like this fixed number of rounds, then the holy name blissfully dances on one's senses. And this is the Navida Bhakti process. In the last class, we discussed up till 39 and 40. Why the Pancharakritik Vidhi is given. A person strongly attached to deity worship attains the results of hearing and chanting. So ultimately, deity worship helps us to come to the mode of goodness where we can focus our mind with one pointed concentration, ekagrata, to hear Krishna Katha or hear the holy name. That is why to become free from especially the lower modes, one is advised that one should regularly perform deity worship. And a person who has that single-minded attraction for the holy name engages in hearing, chanting, and remembering. So ekagrata has to be attained. Ekagrata is possible only when one is in the mode of goodness. Then Shravan, Kirtan, and Smaran will follow. So this is where we had stopped in our last class. So let us now further continue our discussion from text 41. So text 41 to text 45, Bhaktivinoda Thakur mentions Nama Shravana Kirtan Smaran Eikrama. So he mentioned that firstly, the connection between this verse and the next theme is that only when we come to the single-minded attraction for the holy name, then one is able to engage in hearing, chanting, and remembering. So what is the sequence of hearing, chanting, and remembering the holy name? So now my question to all dear devotees is that before we come to this ekagrata, we are also hearing, chanting, and remembering. So what is that then? Who would like to answer? What is that? Anyone? Yes. Yes, Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. It is Namabhas.
Oh no, Namabhas is so glorious that you can attain liberation and you become free from all sins. Namabhas means Madhyamadhikari, who is at the stage of Nishta. Yes. Okay. Virendra Yadav Prabhuji. Yes.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. What we are doing right now, we are trying to come out of this unearth and everything and all, so that we can get a firm determination, and then our real hearing chanting starts.
Yeah. So what is our chanting among the three levels of chanting? Nama, Namaprad, Namabhas, Shuddhanam.
It's Namaprad, Prabhuji. It is Namaprad.
Okay. Among the stages, 9 stages, Shraddha, Sadhu, Sangha, Bhajan, Kriya, Anarth, Nivritti, Nishtha. So where is what stage that is then?
It is still, I think we are at Anarth Nivritti level.
It is called as Anishtita Bhajan Kriya.
Yes,
Anishtita Bhajan Kriya.
Yes.
Our Bhajan Nishta is not strong because of the effects of the modes. Because of the effects of the modes, that's why. So only when we come to the mode of goodness and we have this one pointed concentration where we can just sit in one place and not move our head, not move our hand, just fix ourselves in one place, in a secluded place, in the holy dham, or at our houses where we have the deities, and sit and chant for their pleasure without getting distracted. Not one thought like, okay, let me attend to my phone call, or let me attend to my, bodily demands. So when we come to that stage, then the real hearing, chanting, and remembering sequence can follow. Until then, we are in the Anishtita Bhajan Kriya. Nishtita Bhajan Kriya means one is at the stage of Nishta. So this is very clearly to be noted. So these sequences following after Nishta, the sequence of hearing, chanting, and remembering the holy name. Sevanati Dasya Sakya Atmani Vedan Sahaje namera sanga hoya pravartana. Serving the Lord, seva, offering obeisances to him, nati, dandavats as we say, dasya, carrying out his orders, atmanivedanam, surrendering everything to him, naturally follows the chanting of the holy name. Sahaje namera sanga hoy pravartan. So, with the chanting of the holy names, all these sequentially happen. Namanami ekatatva vishvasa kariya dashanama parada chadi nirjane boshiya ati swalpadine nama hoya sadaya Shri Sama Sundar Rupa Hoine Udaya. Full of faith that Lord Krishna is non-different from the holy name. Nama Nami Eka Tattva Vishwas Kariya. This is very important line. The reason why we are committing 10 offenses is, what is the reason? Anyone? Why are we committing this 10 of Dashanama Parad? Yes, Mataji.
Hare Krishna. Because we don't consider the holy name and name as the same.
Yes, we don't consider the holy name is non-different from the Lord.
Yes.
And because we don't chant with this Sambandha Gyan, we do inattention in chanting. Otherwise, we'll be very attentive. So because we do this, and why we do this? Because we don't have faith, full of faith, Vishwas, Shraddha Shabde, Vishwas, Sudrida Nishchay. So we don't have that. So that is why devotees should, before chanting, go into meditations on the holy names, like read about the holy name, read few chapters or one chapter of Sri Harinam Chintamani, or read Prabhupada's compilation on Namamrita, or recite verses, Nama Chintamani, Shri Chaitanya Rasavigra, Nityamukto, Purna Siddho, Abhinnatvam Namanam. And then having this with the Sambandhigyan, do your chanting. So it helps us to become free from Namaprad. Dasha Aparadha Chadi Nirjana Bashiya. Shunning the 10 offenses and residing in a secluded place. So secluded place can mean within the temple also you can sit in a particular place where you can focus on chanting the holy name. And it can mean in very advanced stages be in the holy dham whenever the Lord gives opportunity. And for one who is in this consciousness, wherever he is traveling all over the world, that all are holy dhams only for him. So like that. I will take this footnote because this is a long footnote. First, let me finish. The chanter of the holy name will find that after very few days, Lord Krishna will be merciful. Ati Solpadine Nama Hoya Sadai. Shri Sama Sundar Rupa Hoina Uday. What will Lord will be merciful and appear in his handsome dark blue form before him. So moment we shun these 10 offenses and with ekagrata, with deep faith that the name is non-different from the Lord, we chant, Ati Solpadine, Bhaktivinoda Thakur is assuring us that we will able to see the form of the Lord in the heart. Shyam Sundar. Premanjana Churita Bhakti Vilochanena. Santa Sadaiva Hrideshu Avalokayanti. Yam Shyam Sundar. That was in the Brahma Samhita. So here is a very important point that this stage, when you cross the Namaprad stage and come to Namabhas, Srila Prabhupada in his Chaitanya Charitamrita commentary, quoting Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, says that one who chants Namabhas realizes that the holy name is not different from the Lord. And then he does Nam Seva in the form of preaching. That's why only a Madhyamadikari can preach. So Namabhasa Sabapapa Shaya. Namabhas chanting destroys all the sins. So the heart or the chitta is almost pure now. It's not fully pure, but almost pure. All the material desires are vanquished, are destroyed. And in that pure chitta, now we can see the form of the Lord. And again, if you see the 12th chapter where we discussed many important philosophical concepts of chanting, we had dealt with the mind compared to a lake. And when the lake is filled with mud or externally a lot of leaves and other dirty substances on the top, you cannot see inside the lake. So when the Rajas and Tamas is removed, then you can see inside the lake. So inside in the heart, you can see Sham Sundar form. So that's the point uh, Bhaktivinoda Thakur is making here. So here there is a footnote, and we will now see the footnote here. Okay. Hedonist. Hedonist means those who are after sense gratification. Vishayi. That's what Bhaktivinoda Thakur says. Performers of pious deeds, karmi, and impersonalists, jnani, are the three kinds of people who have turned their faces away from Lord Krishna. So all these three are turned their faces away from Krishna. The Vishayi, the Karmi, and the Jnani. And why not? Overcome with illusion, they struggle to attain what they falsely think will be their own happiness. They are all Bhukti, Siddhi, Bhukti, Mukti, Siddhi, Sakale Ashant. Krishna Bhakta Nishkam Atavesh. Why they are Ashant? Because they have personal sense gratification desires. A person who works to please his senses, please the senses of his material body is an hedonist. Hedonist is one who wants to enjoy sense gratification. A person who tries to arrange for his material senses will be pleased at some future date is performer of pious deeds. So he's a karma kandi who tries to arrange for his material sense pleasure in some future date. He will do some yajna so that he can get land, he can get a beautiful wife, he can have children, or he can go to Swarga. So like that, he's a karma kandi, a karmi, as Bhaktivinoda Thakur said. A person who tries to throw all his material sufferings far away is an impersonalist. The impersonalists have a desire to become free from Janma Mrityu Jara Vyadi, and they want to attain liberation. So he is an impersonalist. Different from these three kinds of people are the people who have turned their faces towards Lord Krishna. So the bhaktas. Now among the bhaktas, there are three levels: Kanishta, Madhyam, Uttama. Neophyte devotees, Kanishta; intermediate devotees, Madhyama; and advanced devotees, Uttama, are the three kinds of persons who have turned their faces towards Lord Krishna. They have renounced the worship of demigods and are engaged in the worship of Lord Krishna with a motive of fulfilling their own personal desires. However, these neophytes remain unaware of the true nature of themselves, Lord Krishna and other devotees. Still, they are neither fools nor offenders, but they are interested in their own personal benefit. They are not pure Vaishnavas, Shuddha Vaishnavas. Rather, they are almost Vaishnavas, Vaishnava Praya. So this all definitions Bhaktivinoda Thakur is discussed. There is Vaishnava, Vaishnava Tara, and Vaishnava Tama. So the Kanishta are Vaishnava Praya. They are a semblance of a Vaishnava because still they are not free from their own personal material desires. The intermediate devotees have turned towards Lord Krishna, but it cannot be said that they are pure Vaishnavas or very advanced and expert in devotional service. Still, the intermediate devotee is neutral and disinterested in material things, although he may not know how much beyond the truth that Lord Krishna is not different from the holy name. So here, Bhaktivinoda Thakur is giving some hint of intermediate. Intermediate is one who is not attracted to Maya and he is not also fully attracted to Krishna. He's somewhere in between. So he's not a Shuddha Vaishnava. And they may not know much beyond the truth that Lord Krishna is not different from the holy name. That means they know that the Lord Krishna's holy name is not different, but about the pastimes, about the qualities, about the activities of Krishna in the spiritual world, they are not so much aware. A person who has turned his face towards Lord Krishna and who places all his faith in Krishna is qualified to chant the holy. So very nice footnote about, the karmi, sorry, the vishay, that is the vikarmi in one sense, the karmi and the jnani, and then the kanishta, madhyama, uttama, and what are their stages within the kanishta, madhyama, uttama. Text 44. If you have any questions in between also, you can ask. 44. Yabe nama rupa oika hoita sadhane namalayte rupa asi chitta sarvashane. When by this practice sadhana, one sees that Lord Krishna's name and form are identical, then at every moment, Lord Krishna's form is visible in his name in one's heart. Yabe nama rupa, Lord Krishna's name, oikya. Oikya means it becomes one. How? With sadhana. Oite sadhana. Nama loite rupa. So with the name, immediately the form will manifest. Asi chitta sharvashane. So this is a very important verse for us to understand. How, is it possible that the name will manifest the form? What is the methodology? The name will merge and become one with the form. Now, in this world, especially the so-called love between a boy or a girl and a boy, when the boy is in love with the girl, he's always remembering the girl's beautiful form, beautiful qualities, so-called. And because in his heart, the girl is residing for him, similarly is for the girl. So when he sees or when he hears the name, immediately in the mind screen, the picture of the form of the beautiful form of the girl comes. So this is also a principle which works in this material world. Similarly, this principle also works in the spiritual reality. That's why Krishna is saying in the Bhagavad Gita, 10th chapter, Mat chitta mat gata prana bodhayanta parasparam kataschanti mam nityam tushyanti cha ramanti cha. Mat chitta. Mat chitta means in the heart, I reside. Krishna's picture is there in their heart. Mat gata prana. That's why they can't live without me. Bodhayanta parasparam. And that's why they discuss about me. Parasparam. Katashyanti mam nityam. They take pleasure in discussing kata. Tushyanti cha. They become pleased. Ramanti cha. And they enjoy transcendental bliss. So mat chitta. Their minds fully engaged in me. So in the mind, chitta means the heart. And in the heart, who is there? Krishna is there. And this has come because the heart now has become free from all material desires. Sometimes, whomever you feel very dear to your heart, you can wear a locket, and within the locket there is a small pendant. Within the pendant there is a photo of that person whom you love. So similarly, the pure devotees in their heart, they have the picture of only Krishna and no other material sense object. So that's the point here. So this is how it becomes. The name and the form become one, oite. Then what happens further? Tara kichudine rupa guna kari yoga Shri Nama smarane guna kariya sambhoga. After some days, Tara kichudane, Lord Krishna's transcendental qualities are visible in his form. Rupa guna kari yoga. So name and then form manifests with form. The qualities in that form will manifest. Then by meditating on Lord Krishna's name, Shri Nama Smarane, one sees his qualities. Guna Kare Sambhog. Text 45. This is text 45. So we have finished this section. And here in the PPT, I have just summarized this. what is the sequence of hearing, chanting, and remembering? And remember, hearing means ekagrata, with one pointed attention when you start your hearing. So this hearing is Nishtita Bhajan Kriya. From Nishtita Bhajan Kriya, that means after Nishta, the hearing is very focused. Whenever, whatever class you attend, whatever you have heard, everything you can recollect and summarize, and you'll not forget. So that is like hearing, Nishtita Bhajan Kriya. So this sequence was mentioned: name, form, qualities, and activities or pastimes. So all follow systematically. And Bhaktivinoda Thakur in these verses from 41 to 45 has discussed this. So let us go to the next section now. You have any questions on this section? Up till now, what we discussed? Any questions, any clarifications? Text 41 to 45. Any questions, any doubts? Okay, so then we will go to the next section now. That is text 46 now. Okay. So there is only one verse. Nama Rupa Gunera Ekata. Lord Krishna's name, form, and qualities are identical. Salpadine Nama Rupa Guna Eka Hoy. Namalay Te Sarvashana Tinera Uday. So sequentially, name will reveal the form, and in the form you'll see the qualities. That was what was discussed in the previous verses. Now, see the systematic sequence. It's not that pastimes manifest. No. The name, form, and qualities become one now. They become one. Moment you say Krishna, immediately your heart is stunned and you're thinking about the merciful quality of Krishna. Aho Bhakyam Stanakala Putam. Like Uddhav is reciting that verse. Kimva Dayalu Sharanam. Where is that most merciful Lord whom I should not take shelter? Why should I not take shelter of that Lord? Who is so merciful that Baki, his Putana, who had smeared poison in her breast to kill Krishna, but Krishna not only sucked the poison, but he gave the position of a Dhatri in Golok Vrindavan, a nurse, intimately serving under the shelter of Mother Yashoda. So immediately when you take the name, immediately the qualities manifest. And how it happens? First, over a period of time, we chant the holy name until we come to Ekagrata. At Ekagrata, our chanting is very focused, one-pointed. And then the Nishtita Bhajan Kriya begins. And at that stage, with the name, slowly the form will come. So when the form becomes more fixed, then the qualities also slowly in that form will start manifesting. And now, over a period of time, Salpadine, after some time, all three will become one. Lord Krishna's name, form, and qualities are identical. Rupa Guna Ekahoy. From that time on, these three are visible in Lord Krishna's holy name at every moment. At every moment, wherever you see anything, you just think about Krishna's qualities. So we can understand how exalted is this state of chanting where Nama, Rupa, and Guna become one, and you can realize it. Text 47. Upasana Mantra Dhyana Mai. Worship consisting of meditating on the Maha Mantra. Mantra Dhyana Mai. A Nama Upasana. Pratamike Dhara Jani Kare Vibhavana. In the beginning, Pratamike, one worships the holy name, Nam Upasana, by meditating on the Maha Mantra. Mantra Dhyan. by meditating on the mantra. So how this is happening, some idea Bhaktivinoda Thakur is giving in this sequence of verses from 47 to 50. Okay. Smriti kale yoga pite kalpa druma tale gopa gopi vrite krishne dheke kutuhale. Then, as one meditates in this way, mantra dhyana, on the holy name, one happily sees in his meditation Lord Krishna accompanied by his gopas and gopis. Gopa gopi vrite, kalpa drumatale, under the kalpa vriksha in the spiritual world. Deke kutuhale. So all this advanced stages are the stages at higher stages of Uttamadhikari, which is Bhava and Prema. It's not because we know that now we are in the 15th chapter where Prayojan is discussed. Then what happens when we see like this? Satvika vikara sabha hoya prasputita bhajana ananda bhakta hoya pulakita. Then all the six ecstatic symptoms of Satviki bhav become manifest in the body. Satvika vikara sabha hoya prasputita. Filled with bliss of worshipping the Lord. Bhajana anande bhakta. The devotee finds that the hairs of his body stand erect. Haya pulakita. Now, anyone knows from the Srimad Bhagavatam any reference of past time where the devotee took up to hearing chanting, and while chanting, the Lord's form appeared in the heart, and these Ashtasattvic manifestations manifested. Anyone can give any reference or quotation from the Bhagavatam where it is mentioned? A very famous pastime. Anyone knows? Two hands are there. Yes, Amal Bhaktirani Mataji.
Is it? I'm just trying. Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Dhruva Maharaj.
Yes, Dhruva Maharaj, when he saw the Lord in the heart, all these symptoms also manifested, and then the image in the heart suddenly disappeared, and he was disturbed and perturbed, and he opened his eyes out of meditation, and he actually saw the Lord in front.
Yes.
Yes, that is one example. Any other example, from the first canto? Okay. Yes, would like to say something? Okay. Yes, Satananda Chaitanya Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, Pranam. Is it Narad Muni?
Yes, not Narad Muni. Narad Muni in his previous life.
Okay.
Yes, Narad Muni in his previous life as a son of a maidservant, just that 4 months of association with Bhaktivedantas, and his mother left the world and he was wandering in the forest. He just drank some water to quench his thirst, and he was sitting and meditating as the Bhaktivedantas had instructed him. And immediately the Lord appeared in his heart, and ecstatic symptoms manifested on his body. And immediately the Lord disappeared. And he was so disturbed, he again tried to meditate, but the Lord would not give darshan. And it is mentioned, Ku Yoginam. Ku Yoginam means one who has still not become perfected in their bhajan. In fact, Narad Muni had attained perfection in his previous life because he could see the Lord in the heart. But the Lord wanted to increase his hankering for him. So that's why once he gave darshan. So just once darshan of the Lord is sufficient for us to take towards perfection. But seeing Narad Muni, the son of maidservant in his previous life, very much kutuhala, his anxiety, that the Lord did not give him darshan, but he spoke. a voice spoke from the sky. He said that in this life you cannot have darshan of me. So still he was a little bit attached to the mode of goodness in the forest. So because that's why I said, ekagra chanting is in the mode of goodness. One point is continental, and the higher levels, Shuddha Sattva is transcendental. So only in the Shuddha Sattva these happen. And even when we attain the higher stages, it can happen when we can do ekagrata chanting, where the picture of Krishna can come in the mind screen spontaneously without we putting efforts. That's important for us. Any other examples anyone knows about this important principle which Bhaktivinoda Thakur is mentioning? How the Ashtasattvic Vikars manifest Sattviki Bhavs. Any other examples from the Bhagavatam? In fact, all the examples of the Bhagavatam about the great devotees are there. Prahlad Maharaj is there. In the 11th canto, Navayogendra is mentioned about how a devotee, chants in ecstasy, maddened in love of Godhead, and all the ecstatic symptoms manifest on his body. Amrish Maharaj, like that. All the examples are there in one sense. Okay. Krameyabe nama swa saurabhe prafulita ashtakale Krishna lila hoebe udita. Now you see, we saw in the sequence in the slides, the first name comes, and when you are fixed in attentively hearing the name, with the purification of the heart, Chaitodarpan Marjanam, the form will spontaneously come up, Shamsundar form. And then meditating like this, chanting the holy names, the form, qualities come. Taking the name, immediately you remember the qualities. All three merge and form one. And in this sequence, further, Bhaktivinoda Thakur is mentioning this sequence, these verses 47 to 50, how, this mantra dhyan slowly will take us to, where we can have darshan of Krishna and the gopis and the gopas and the kalpavriksha, and seeing this sattvic vikars manifest. And then actually the pastimes. The flower of the holy name gradually blossoms. Swa saurabhe prafulita, and becomes very fragrant. Saurabh means fragrance. Krame. Now, after this happens, the next sequence is this. Then Lord Krishna's pastimes, Ashtakala Krishna Lila Hoibe Udita, in the 8 periods of the day become visible. So the pastimes, it's not that with the name, form, qualities, immediately pastimes manifest. No. First from name, form. From the form, qualities. Then all three merge. And deeper into our meditation when we go, Nam Dhyan, then the ecstatic symptoms manifest. Krishna manifest with along his parikars, and then the 8-fold pastimes, Ashtakaliya Leela, manifest in the heart. So there is no endeavor also sometimes to, artificially try to read about these exalted pastimes which Krishna does in the spiritual world. It manifests in the heart at the stage of bhava and prema. So we should know that. And without having the purity of the heart, one should not try to read about these exalted topics also. Yes, Vikram Prabhuji, you have a question?
Yes.
Yes.
Now, Prabhuji, you were saying about the quality that get manifested, but what kind of qualities that get manifested that we realize during that stage, Prabhuji? That is all. What kind of qualities of Krishna manifest?
Okay, what kind of qualities? I just gave one example of what kind of qualities manifest. How Krishna is merciful. When read the Bhagavatam, Kamva Dayalu Sharanam Rajemam, your heart becomes soft and tears naturally flow from the eyes, thinking about the wonderful, merciful quality of Krishna. So Krishna has, these 64 qualities which are mentioned in the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. They are the principal ones. Krishna has unlimited qualities which even Ananta cannot count. But these 64 principal qualities, so like that, all these qualities slowly manifest. Gratitude, humility, compassion, dayalu, how Krishna is expert, like that, all these qualities one by one start manifesting. We should also read from the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu about it, and so that we can develop our attraction for Krishna and Krishna. But at the same time, we should understand that slowly these qualities also manifest. And I gave one example of the merciful quality of Krishna, of Krishna's beauty. It's also a quality. Tribanga Lalita. Smeram Bhangi, not Smeram. Barhapidam Natvara Karnayo Karnikaram, which is mentioned in the 10th canto. The gopis speaking about Krishna wearing that Barhapidam, and he's having this peacock feather, and Karnikaram, he's wearing the Makara Kundal, and he's dancing and coming, playing his flute, putting nectar in that, along with his Gopa friends, entering into Vrindavan back from the forest of herding the cows. So all this wonderful qualities start manifesting. Is it clear, Prabhuji?
Yes, Prabhuji. Thank you.
Okay. So the pastimes, how they happen, also the sequence is given. Krame, it happens krame. The flower of the holy name gradually blossoms. This is, the Premankur at Bhava stage. All this is in the Prayojan stage, what Bhaktivinoda Thakur is mentioning. But I'm also covering all other levels. Even in Raganuga Sadhana, these happen to a certain degree, but they start fully manifesting at the stage of Bhava and Prema. Okay. Text 51. Swarasiki Upasana. Swarasiki Upasana, the nectar stage of worship. Swarasiki Upasana hoibe uday, Lilochita pite Krishna darshana kare. Then one attains the stage of Swarasiki Upasana, the nectar stage of worship. The worship becomes completely nectar. One sees Lord Krishna enjoying specific pastimes in the spiritual world. Leela Uchita. Uchit Leela Pite Krishna Darshan Kare. So you start seeing the pastimes, what Krishna manifests in the spiritual world. So this is almost at the stage of perfection, which is happening. Sange Sange Guru Kripa Siddha Swarupite Leelaya Pravesha Bhakta Sakira Sangite. By the spiritual master's mercy, Guru Kripa, one gradually attains his original spiritual form, Siddha Swarup. He attains his original spiritual form. Enters the Lord's pastimes. Now here he is seeing the pastimes. Now he attains that bhajan lalsa. Lalsa means a pure spiritual desire now to enter into those pastimes. And this happens when his spiritual form is revealed. Enters the Lord's pastimes and attains the association of Sakis, Shri Radha's Gopis friends. So when is our Siddha Swarupa revealed? At what stage in our devotion? Anyone? At what stage in our devotion the Siddha Swarupa is revealed? Yes, Prabhuji.
Prabhuji, at the stage of Swarasika Upasana stage.
But what is that stage called among the 9 stages in Bhakti? Shraddha, Sadhu, Sangha, Bhajan, Kriya, Anarth, Nivriti, Nishtha.
Bhava Prema.
One stage you have to mention.
Prema, Prabhuji.
No. At the stage of Bhava.
Bhava.
At the stage of Bhava, our spiritual form is revealed. Maha Bhava Swarupini Vrishabhanu Suta Tandra Anugakta Bhakti Sada Prema Yuta. Following the example of Sri Radha, Mahabhava Swarupini, who is the extrinsic love personified, one engages in loving devotional service. Tandra Anugata Bhakti Sada Prema Yuta. So here there is a footnote. Shanta, Dasya, Sakya, Vatsalya, and Shringar, conjugal love, are the 5 rasas. Of them, Shringar ras is the best. They who attain the mercy of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu become qualified for this ras, Shringar ras. This is what Mahaprabhu has come to give. In this rasa are many Yuteshwaris, leaders of groups of gopis. Of all the Yuteshwaris, Sri Radha is the most glorious. She is the direct internal potency of the Lord. Antaranga Shakti she is. The other girls of Vraja are all expanded from her sweet transcendental form. So from her Kaya Swarup, Kaya means her body, from a different parts of her body, all these gopis have manifested. The Rasika devotees aspire to join Sri Radha's group of gopis. Without following the gopis, one cannot serve Lord Krishna in this way. The Rasika devotees aspire to enter Sri Radha's group, where Lalita and many other gopis stay. So this is what Mahaprabhu has to come to give, the service of Srimati Radharani as an assistant gopi, or what we call as Manjari. So directly the maid servant of Srimati Radharani in her group. Yuteshwari means her group. Saki agyamate kare yugal sevana Maha prema magna hoy sei rasika jana. Following the commands of the Sakis, one serves the divine couple. Yugala sevan, Saki agya. In this way, the Rasika devotee becomes plunged in the nectar of great love. Maha prema magna hoy rasika jana. So Rupa Goswami also in his Raganuga Bhakti definition mentions that Raganuga Sadhaka in his Sadhaka Deha, means this body, he follows the Goswamis and the Acharyas and practices devotional service, follows all the rules and regulations. But in his Siddha Deha is the internal meditation where one chants and internally develops his spiritual body. He follows the eternal associates of Vrindavan, whichever rasa it is, Sakya, Dasya or Vatsalya. And like that, he starts meditating. He goes internally into chanting, into meditation, and develops his spiritual body. And the spiritual body is fully developed at the stage of bhava. And at the stage of bhava, in this world also, he is doing service, a very exalted devotee. And in his spiritual body also, he is performing service in the spiritual world. So twofold services are happening, which we cannot realize and understand it. So this is a very deep and esoteric topic. But just to give you an example, Narottam Das Thakur is an eternal associate of the Lord. And he acted as a sadhaka, but that is to show us as an example. And he was ordered by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to go and take shelter of Loknath Goswami. Loknath Goswami also was ordered by the Lord to give him initiation. So Narottam Das Thakur, after taking bath in that Padmavati river, where Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself had stored Krishna Prem, all the ecstatic symptoms manifested and he started chanting the name of Gauranga. His body turned into golden form. And then from that Kheturi village, he just left home and went to Vrindavan. And he met his spiritual master and begged for initiation. His spiritual master said, "No, I will test you for 1 year." So Narottam Das Thakur was every day chanting 2 lakh holy names. And he was serving menially his spiritual master. And whatever the Vaishnavas were giving him service. And he was reading, the works of the Goswamis. So in his chanting meditation, he used to boil milk, setting a firewood and boiling milk and offering this milk to all the gopis. And one day, while boiling the milk, he lifted the iron pot and his hands burned. And he came out of his chanting and actually saw his hands were burned. And that's why he used to tie cloth to his hands, because he did not want to show others that, what these marks are. So in his sadhaka deha, he was following the regulative principles of devotional service, chanting and doing service. But in his internal meditation, he was also serving in the spiritual world. So this is how exalted is Bhava Bhakti and what to speak of Prema Bhakti. So this is what is happening is, mentioned in 53 and 54. Okay. So any questions up till now? Okay. I'm surprised you have questions on these subjects also. Anyway. Yes, Prabhuji.
Another from Prabhuji. Prabhuji, I just want to confirm again that being in this body and chanting Hare Krishna mantra, one can attain the spiritual body.
No, I'm not able to. You'll have to.
Hello, Prabhuji.
Yeah.
Can you? Am I clear, Prabhuji?
Yes.
Prabhuji, I just want to confirm that by just chanting of Hare Krishna Maha mantra at a bhava stage, one can find his real identity, his spiritual body, and he can take part
Yes.
in the real spiritual world with gopas and gopis.
Yes.
Is that that is what you are trying to explain?
Yes. Yes. That explained by Bhaktivinoda Thakur.
Okay.
That I told you. That's why in this world also you're doing devotional service. You're following all the rules and regulations to set up an example. But in your spiritual body, you're serving there in the spiritual world also at the stage of bhava. That is what is happening. So for this, you'll all have to study nicely Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu and other books like Updeshamrit very systematically. And all these are especially revealed in the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu about Raganuga Sadhana. So there it is mentioned more in detail. Bhaktivinoda Thakur is also covering here. Okay, we will take, we have some more time. We'll take this verse, text 55. Okay, let me finish this verse and then take up the question. Linga Bhanga Vastu Siddhi. Vastu Siddhi, if you remember here, yeah, this is Vastu Siddhi or Sampati Dasha, perfection of life. Apan Dasha is Maran Dasha fully developed, understands his original constitutional position, that is at the stage of Bhava. So your remembrance of Krishna progresses in these 5 stages. And Shravan Dasha begins with Nishtita Bhajan Kriya, Shravan, and then all these dashas are there. Sampati Dasha is also called as Vastu Siddhi. So here it was mentioned that your Sarupa is revealed and you attain, the position of a maid servant of Srimati Radharani in Madhuri Ras. And you're serving there also, you're serving here also. And Sampati Dasha is mentioned here in this particular verse. Sadhana Bhajana Siddhi Laga Lagityaya Linga Bhanga Vastu Siddhi Tomara Kripaya. By this practice, Sadhana Bhajana, one attains the perfection of devotional service. Siddhi, perfection. Then by your mercy, O Lord, this subtle material body, Linga Deha means Stula Deha, Sukshma Deha we call sometimes, or Linga Deha and another Deha, what it is, gross body is called, I don't recollect, gross and subtle body. Subtle body is called as Linga Deha, is broken and he attains true spiritual perfection. So the Linga Deha is destroyed at the stage of Bhava, and maybe some small traces might be there, but it is fully destroyed at the stage of Prema also. So here is a footnote, let us see. By following this path, one closely approaches the perfection of devotional service. That is Prema stage. After very few days, one's original spiritual form arises. By the mercy of the Yuteshwari, one yearns to attain Lord Krishna. Then the subtle material body, Linga Deha, which was first created because one had turned his face away from Lord Krishna, is easily destroyed. In this way, the soul regains his original pure spiritual form and resides in Braj. So wherever he is always residing in Braj, Moramana, Vrindavan. In Raganuga Bhakti itself, Tishte Vraja, mentally or physically he resides in Braj. So what to speak in Bhava Bhakti and Prema Bhakti? So that's the point here. Okay, so there was one question now. So we will stop at 55 and the next verses we will take up next week. Yes, Mataji, you had a question?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, I had the question that once the spiritual body is manifested, can the material body persist?
Oh, very nice question. When the spiritual body is developed fully at the stage of bhava, the material body continues to be there in this world. But one thing we have to very clearly understand, now this material body also has got fully spiritualized. It has become Chinmay. And that's why in the Updeshamrita that is mentioned, especially for Uttamadhikari, Drishte Swabhava Janita Vapushcha Na Prakritam Eva Pashet. Bhakta Janasya Pashet. One should not see with a material vision the pure devotee of the Lord. Drishte Swabhava Janita. And just like the Ganges, which is filled with foams, bubbles, and dirt, Brahma Dravyatam. It is completely Brahma Dravya. It is completely spiritual. Similarly, the body of a devotee becomes Chinmay, completely spiritualized at the stage of Bhava. At the stage of Bhava, it happens. So he is there in this body as long as Krishna desires. As long as Krishna desires for him to be here and preach the glory of devotion. And with the passage of time, already subtle body is destroyed. The gross body also, which is completely now spiritual, is destroyed. And the example is given in the first canto, Narad Muni's pastime, just like a thunderbolt and lightning. The thunderbolt comes and hits, it's like death, and lightning is that light. So the spiritual body immediately develops. So one immediately is transferred to the spiritual world. Of course, one goes to first the planet where Krishna is performing his pastimes, and there he attains further perfection and goes back to the spiritual world then. So definitely the body remains even of a sadhaka who has attained siddhi, but it is completely a spiritual body. It's completely a spiritual body. It's chinmay. It's completely spiritual. So that is the understanding we have. Is it clear, Mataji?
Yes, Prabhuji. I just wanted one more answer that after attaining this spiritual progress, what we say that the material body is destroyed. After that, it is said that one gets birth in Vrindavan.
Yes.
The Vrindavan, which Vrindavan, Prabhuji? I just wanted to know the journey. How the
Once sadhaka attains siddhi, perfection, then Krishna's pastimes are happening in the unlimited universes in a sequence. Krishna is born, suppose in this universe, his birth pastime happens, and then uh, Vasudev takes him to Gokul. In some other universe, Krishna is again taking birth there. And here, Sri Krishna starts playing as a kid. So Vasudev there in that other universe is taking Krishna to Gokul. And some other universe, Krishna is again taking birth. So this is happening just like the sun is moving from different phases from morning till evening. So Krishna's pastimes are continuously manifesting in different universes. So whenever this devotee was attained perfection, he becomes sadhana siddha. Siddha means attain perfection by sadhana. He becomes siddha. So any of the universes, this devotee, based on his contemplation and meditation, whatever he had, if he had meditated on the form of a, in conjugal ras, so he'll take birth as a gopi from a gopi's body in the spirit, in wherever Krishna is manifesting his pastimes. If he is prominent rasa of Sakya, then he'll be born as a Gopa in Vraj. In all the universes, there is Vrindavan on earth. So like that, in this earth also, in this universe also, there is earth and there is Vrindavan. So in this bomb of Vrindavan, in this universe or in any of the universes, he takes birth there, and there is further perfection he attains. And further levels of prema, higher levels of prema are there. Sneha, Mana, Raga, Anuraga, Bhava, Pranaya, and Mahabhava. Like that, these higher stages are there. This kind of emotions, higher stages in prema, cannot be sustained in this body. And that's why In that spiritual body, he develops these higher levels of prema, and from there he goes back to the spiritual world. Is it clear, Mataji?
Yes, Prabhuji, thank you very much.
Okay. Any other questions or clarifications? So we have finished up till 55 verses, and for your kind information, there is 115 verses here. Still a long way to discuss this. So 55, 160 verses more. So we'll be briefly touching upon these subjects so that we know what really is perfection and what a systematic process our acharyas have everything given in our scriptures. Yes, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Dandapana. Prabhuji, I just wanted to know, this Uttama Adhikari who are sadhana siddha, and sometimes for preaching they come down to Madhyama level. So how they transient from Uttama to Madhyama level? How they come?
See, one thing is that one who is a Madhyamadhikari, he is Madhyama. He will be able to discriminate these four. But as he practices his sadhana and attains perfection, then his vision is completely becomes spiritual. Prema Chakshu, it is called as Prema Chakshu. Now, where he considers everyone as a devotee and he himself as a non-devotee, that is his humility. And he's relishing so much rasa in relationship to Krishna that he's completely in union with the Lord in the spiritual world. But Krishna has a purpose. Why this devotee is? Because Krishna is compassionate. He wants that through his devotee only, he wants to give association to the jivas so that they can take up the devotion. So Krishna breaks that vision, the prema chakshu, by which his vision comes down to a lower level, from the uttama to the madhyama. From the prema chakshu, he comes to a divya chakshu. Divya chakshu is the celestial vision. And from this, uttama comes to the madhyama, and then he is able to discriminate and actually preach. Now, this whole understanding comes from the Vishwarupa Darshan Yoga, that is the 11th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita. Arjuna has Prem Chakshu, and that's why he considers Krishna as his friend. But when he saw the Virat Rupa, Vishwarupa, then what happened? Immediately he started praying, "Oh, who are you?" So, Divyam Dadami Te Chakshu, what was mentioned. So, what is that Divyam Dadami Chakshu? It is a celestial vision. So, his vision came down from a pure divine vision, that is transcendental vision or Prema Chakshu, to Divya Chakshu. So, that is what we have to understand. That's how we have to understand. Is it clear, Prabhuji?
Yes, Prabhuji. Thank you very much. Thank you.
So we'll stop here. Shri Harinam Chintamani ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur ki jai. Hare Krishna.